What is up, everybody? And boy, oh boy, it is the Sactown Sports Kings recap show here on a Monday night following the Warriors-Kings game in the Bay Area. And obviously, as we know now, the Kings go down in defeat tonight against the defending champions, 116-113. And look, we have a lot to get to talk about with this game. I mean, there's just a ton, absolutely a ton that we witnessed over the last couple of hours, but we have to start with the 5,000-pound elephant in the room. And yes, that is the fact that the Kings got hosed. The Kings got hosed once again. I mean, you go back and you look at this, and I watched the play a number of times, Huerter's three attempt there as the clock was winding down. And it's obvious to me, it was obvious to Katie Christensen and Mark Jones, it was obvious to Huerter and his teammates, and it was obvious, I would believe, to all of you, that Kevin Huerter was clearly, and I mean clearly, fouled at the end of this game by Klay Thompson. There's no doubt about it. The hand is in the back, and then as Huerter goes up to take the shot, falling away towards the crowd, Klay Thompson makes obvious contact with the hand and the arm, might have even got him with the body. And look, it's so tough. It is so tough to look at this game and say to yourself, that's how it's decided. I feel like we're living a bad dream yet again, like we had to face last week against Miami. The Kings got hosed against Miami. Tyler Hero clearly traveled. The last 2-minute report said that Hero clearly traveled. The refs missed it. That was with, 11 seconds to go in the game, tied 107-107. If you call the travel on Tyler Hero, you get the basketball, you get the chance to take the last shot tied, and you're either winning that game in Miami or you're going into overtime. Now, what we get tonight is a chance Huerter taking a three, and Klay Thompson clearly fouling Kevin Huerter. And Huerter should have been at the line for 3 free throws. And I'm not telling you that Huerter would have made all 3 free throws. We don't know. But the fact is, Huerter should have been at the line. Now, a lot of other things happen in that fourth quarter that causes this game to go in the L column, right? You go into the fourth quarter, you're up 88-79. So you're up 9 points going into the fourth. But that doesn't mean what I don't want to do is to look at this and say, well, the Kings should have won this game in regulation. They should have not needed that 3. Look, the officials have to do their job. If we want the Kings and we expect the Kings to do their job, then the officials have to also do their job. And when you blow a call that is so obvious and so apparent at the end of a game like that, that's not a foul. It's very similar to the foul with the missed travel against the Heat. When something happens like that at the end of a game, it's all up to the crew to make the right call. Make the right call. Give Huerter 3 free throws. Obvious foul. The refs absolutely missed that call. And it's 2 out of the last 3 games. So you go 2-2 on this 4-game road trip. The only 2 games that you lose end in controversial fashion. And that has to be so frustrating for the guys who played their butts off tonight. I mean, I thought they played hard, absolutely hard. And this kid, look, you can love the whining all you want. And there's Sac T saying, what's up? How's it going? Appreciate you. I'm trying to get this little comment here by this kid. Love the whining. Look, it's not whining. It's fact. It's not whining. Whining is wanting a call that didn't exist. Whining is saying that the officials are a part of a cabal that's against you. Whining is wanting something that you don't truly deserve. It's rather obvious. Again, the Warriors have to do their job. The Kings have to do their job. And the officiating crew has to do their job. If we're going to hold the players to a standard, we have to hold the officials to a standard. NBA officiating is bad. It's as simple as that. It is bad. And you can't miss. I'm not saying ticky-tack calls, okay? I'm not talking about the ticky-tack calls and, it could have gone this way, it could have gone that way. I'm talking about obvious and clear calls that affect the end of a game. And that's what we had tonight. And that, to me, is frustrating because I want the players to decide the games. I want the players to decide the games. And what you're doing is you are bailing out Klay Thompson, who, by the way, boneheaded play. Like that is a boneheaded play by Klay Thompson. Why in the world is Klay Thompson committing that foul with like 1 second left on the clock with Huerter, heading towards the crowd, taking an impossible three-pointer attempt? Like, so why don't we hold Klay Thompson accountable for that terrible foul, for that terrible decision, and for doing something that should have given the Kings a chance to tie the game at the free throw line, right? Boneheaded by Klay. He should have been punished for it by being called for the foul. And the foul wasn't called. So Klay gets bailed out. The Warriors get bailed out. And it's ridiculous. And it shouldn't happen. So that's that. Absolutely boneheaded by Klay. And there's no doubt about it that was a foul. And the refs missed it. It's as simple as that. So that right there is known. If you want to talk about it, feel free, chat in. I got E-Man Scott 999. NBA is rigged now, I believe, after that play, and the challenges. The challenge is something else that we got to talk about, right? The NBA challenge system is so screwy. Number one, I don't know why coaches get one challenge. They challenge. If they get it right, they don't get a second challenge. Don't know why. You have one challenge, that's it. You've got to use it. Once you use it, it's done. You can't earn a second. That doesn't make much sense to me. And a lot of these other things that we talk about, right? You can't challenge a travel call. You can't challenge certain calls. That doesn't make much sense to me. Why don't you just open it up? I say the same thing about the NFL. Open it up. Let NFL coaches challenge whatever they want to challenge. And once they burn their challenges, it's over with, right? But the NBA gives you one challenge and you can't get a second challenge if you get the first challenge correct. The Steph Curry shot and challenge, I hate that. I hate what the NBA does. In essence, the NBA is telling you that Steph Curry caused the contact on his three-point attempt. By the way, brilliant shot by Curry, and we'll get to him in a minute because an out-of-body experience by Steph Curry. But what the officials are telling you is they're telling you that Steph Curry initiated the contact with his leg, and that's why he doesn't get the free throw, but yet the three still counts. That makes no sense to me. If he initiated the contact, which is what they ruled, then that should be an offensive foul. He initiated the contact, the shot shouldn't count, and the basketball should go to the opposition. I have no idea. I have no earthly idea of how you can say the offensive player caused the physical contact, initiated the contact, but yet we're going to still count the three, and we're going to say it's not a foul on the defender because Steph Curry initiated the contact, but it's not a foul by Steph Curry. It's all very, very confusing to me. I don't understand the challenge system and how these decisions are made. I am glad that the NBA went back and revisited it during the offseason and said, okay, well, if somebody clearly has the basketball, they should get possession. And that was good. But the rest of the challenge system is very, very strange. So if you want to talk about some of these calls, Zombie Head Soldiers says offensive foul. I agree with you. Again, the refs told us by the Kings winning that challenge, the refs are telling us that Steph Curry initiated the contact, i.e. offensive foul, but somehow, some way, it doesn't count as an offensive foul. It's just, oh, yeah, he initiated the contact, but he doesn't get called for a foul. The bucket still counts. But, hey, guys, he doesn't get the extra free throw. It just doesn't make any sense. I want to talk about something else at the end of the game Akash brings up, and this is a fantastic point. So the Kings, you're in that position with 1.3 seconds left because you decided to trap and wait on Steph Curry, and you decided that you were going to try to get him into some tough spots, maybe hoping for a turnover, maybe hoping for some kind of violation, right? But you're putting it on the refs there at a split second. And I thought, I agree, Akash, with your point. The Kings should have fouled earlier. I understand the idea of trapping and trying to cause the turnover, but once you get to under like 6 seconds, 5 seconds, you've got to foul. And I thought that the Kings should have fouled when it got into Curry, And then you can run some different stuff, right? If you foul Curry with 4 or 5 seconds left, I think he got the inbound with about 6 seconds left on the clock. If you foul Curry right there and not try to, create chaos and create a turnover, if you just foul Curry right there on the spot, right, then you get the basketball back. So, you send him to the free throw line. He's Steph Curry. He's going to knock down both free throws. But now you're down by 3, but you have 5 seconds left versus being down by 3 and only 1.3 second left. So that to me, I did not like the strategy there. I would have went with the foul. I would have utilized the clock on my end, and I would have said, okay, now I can draw something up with 5 seconds left, right? And so that's the difference, right? So when you run a play with 1.3 seconds left on the clock, you only have a couple of there's only so many plays you can run with 1.3. If you have 5 or 6 seconds left on the clock, there's a lot more you can do, a lot more at your disposal. So I did not like waiting so long to foul Curry. I did not like that strategy. I thought the Kings should have fouled earlier. If you're just jumping in, first of all, thank you. We appreciate you here at Sactown Sports. It's a Sactown Sports Kings recap show here on a Monday night. Obviously, Warriors 116, Kings 113. And for people like Lee S., my guy jumping in, Lee S. says, obvious foul at the end by Klay. I agree with you, Lee. I thought it was an obvious foul on Klay. The referees absolutely missed it. It's inexcusable. Huerter should have been sent to the line for 3 free throws, and the players should decide this game. And Klay Thompson decided to foul Kevin Huerter, a stupid foul by Klay Thompson, and he got away with it. He got bailed out. And, Talking Josh jumps in, and this is part of the frustration for sure. You have all these last 2-minute reports, and everything is going against Sacramento. And that's not, again, some kind of whining or biased or whatever. That's fact. So I thought the officials hosed the Kings at the end. I thought the Kings put themselves in a tough position by not fouling Steph Curry earlier on that final possession for the Warriors. And really, overall, if you try to remove the officiating, which I know is very difficult, but if we remove the officiating and we just look at this game, here's my takeaway. The Kings just went toe-to-toe with the defending world champions. They took an incredible haymaker at the start of this game. The Kings are down 27-17 really quickly. They're down 27-17, and you're thinking this is going to be ugly. But then they go on a run themselves, and they have an excellent 14-2 closeout in the first quarter. So first quarter, the Warriors come out. They hit the Kings with a haymaker. What do the Kings do? The Kings respond. And they throw a haymaker. The Kings, after going down 27-17, the Kings then went on a 31-10 run. And that's the response that you want. So I thought they took the haymaker. They threw punches back. Then, in the third quarter, the Warriors come out of the locker room. The Warriors go on a 13-2 run. What did the Kings do? The Kings, they fight back with a run of their own. And if you're watching this game, you go into the third quarter up by 12. The Warriors come out with a 13-2 run. And you're thinking, you've seen this movie before. The Warriors are going to be up by like 15, 18 points by the end of the third quarter, and this game is over. But no. The Kings again responded just like they did in the first quarter. They respond to the big haymaker that the Warriors throw at the beginning of the third quarter. And because of that, you go into the fourth quarter with a 9-point lead. So you only lost 3 points off of your lead from halftime going into the fourth quarter. And that's because you were able to respond to the Warriors throwing those punches. Ask yourself, do you see that kind of response from prior Kings teams? Do you see that kind of response from last year's team? This is the maturity, and these are the habits that Mike Brown is building, and this is why we've seen the Kings win some games here early on this season that you would have chalked up to losses in typical losses in prior Kings years, but that's not what's happening this season, right? So again, they withstand the shot in the first quarter. They withstand the shot in the third quarter, and they continue to trade baskets at the end of this game. They go back and forth, dramatic plays. Terrence Davis, as Mark Jones said during the game, hits a 9-1-1 3 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And it's just going toe-to-toe. It's going toe-to-toe with the defending champs. And I'll tell you this, I said it on the show today, Cattles and Rami on Sactown Sports 1140. I said it earlier today. I was afraid of this game for the Kings because the Warriors just finished up a 0-6 road trip. They're a prideful team. They're the defending champions. They've been sitting at home since Friday night. They've been waiting all weekend. They've been stewing all weekend, and they came out with fire. And the Kings could have packed up their bags and said, hey, we've won 2 out of 3 on the road so far on this road trip. Let's be happy with that. This is a tough game. Let's just get back home. They didn't do it. They kept fighting, and I think that is a good sign as we continue to see this team be resilient. As Talking Josh says, he says, this team is resilient. I'm proud of us for that. We're sticking with heavy playoff contenders early in November. Not only if we can get respect from the officiating, enough said. And again, yes, the officiating was bad tonight, and I thought it was a clear foul on Klay Thompson on that 3 from Huerter. So toe-to-toe with defending champions. The officiating was against you at the end of this game. There's no doubt about that. Huerter should have had 3 free throws. Some other stuff. Man, Steph Curry, right? I mean, you could really you could explain this game in like 2 minutes. You can say Kings fought, bad officiating at the end, Steph Curry out-of-body experience. Look, they had Steph and you didn't. And that's the reason why you were down in this game in the final moments. Steph Curry was crazy good tonight. Steph Curry was, looking like Steph Curry in the finals. Steph Curry was looking like MVP Steph Curry. Steph Curry was looking like he was impossible to stop. He finished with 45 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 dimes. He shot 17 of 24 from the field. 17 of 24 from the field. Outrageous. He shot 7 of 12 from 3. And it's not like, did he get some easy looks? Yes. But it wasn't like the Kings weren't playing good defense. It wasn't like they weren't contesting his shots. It wasn't like they weren't in his space, right? They were in his airspace from time to time, at least. The dude is just a freak. He's an incredible basketball player. He is unreal offensively, and he was on one tonight. Steph Curry went into this game saying, we just lost 6 in a row on the road. I am not losing this game no matter what. We can get down by double digits, but I am going to do everything I can to make sure we walk away with a W. And that's what great players do. And Steph was great tonight. He was great. There's nothing at times, you can't stop great players when they're playing as excellent as Steph Curry played tonight. You can do all that you want to do or try what you can. But there's just no way. There's just no way that you can stop him in these kinds of moments and these kinds of games. We've seen it over and over with the guy. He's just tremendous. And I thought that the Warriors, they did show their mettle. At the end of the game, the final few minutes of this game, I thought it was sloppy from the Kings. I thought they had some bad possessions, empty possessions. Shot selection was an issue for me on a couple of those possessions. They had one too many turnovers late. And the defending champions on the other end of the floor, they're executing at a high level. And not only did Steph make some big shots, but also let's not forget that, Andrew Wiggins hit like 2 or 3 gigantic shots for the Warriors that kept them in this game late. If he misses 1 or 2 of those shots, the Kings win. So Wiggins hit some big shots. The Asiatic, if I pronounce your name correctly, was Huerter fouled? Yes. Again, I know many of you are jumping in and out of this thing, but yes. We covered it at the very top. I thought for sure that Huerter was fouled. It was clear to me that Klay Thompson fouled him. He should have gone to the line for 3 foul shots. You should get 3 free throws out of that, a chance to tie and go into overtime. Thought it was clear, thought it was missed. And if that's not shown in the last 2-minute report, then I have nothing to say. I have no idea how you can watch that replay. I watched it several times. You can't walk away from that replay thinking that wasn't a foul on Klay Thompson. It was clear as day. that was a foul. Again, I thought the Kings weathered some good storms. Their offense got a little disjointed late. There were a couple of possessions that it was late shot clock. They were scrambling. And, Domas has the basketball with like 2 seconds left on the shot clock. That is not what you want. That is not the offense that you're trying to run. So I thought their offense was spotty late. De'Aaron Fox, I thought was really good again tonight, guys. For a while there until Curry just went bananas, you had Fox canceling out Steph Curry. I mean, they were pretty much going back and forth, bucket for bucket. And, Fox ends up with 28 and 6. I thought he was very efficient tonight offensively. He got to the free throw line a ton. And we know, right? We know when Fox gets to the free throw line, that is when he's at his best. He got to the free throw line a bunch tonight. He made a bunch of free throws. The shot still looks very good. The shot looks good from 3. Fox continues to play great basketball. That was absolutely another game that you chalk up for De'Aaron Fox and say to yourself, you feel really good about his start to the season. The bench, let's give credit to the bench. I don't know if this game is as close if it wasn't for Malik Monk in the first quarter. Malik Monk came out. He hits 3 threes. He had a drive and kick to Fox for an open 3 that counted. Malik Monk changed the energy. He shifted the energy in the first quarter. And he was fantastic. And Monk now is starting to stack games together. That's great news for the Kings. If Monk can continue to stack these games, now you have somebody else who you can trust, come off the bench, can make shots, can play make for you. Malik Monk has been tremendous the last couple of nights. And I think that should make you feel really good as a Kings fan because he's somebody that they're going to count on. They ran out and they signed him to that contract right at the beginning of free agency. This is the kind of Malik Monk they were hoping for, somebody who gives you big-time production, makes some very difficult shots, somebody that can get on a heater. And I thought that Monk was excellent, was absolutely excellent in this game tonight. I did think at times in the second half he forced his offense a little bit because he was hot and he was having such a good night. But look, I thought overall you can't complain about Malik Monk. And the bench was great. The bench was in the 40s in scoring. And that is another game. That is another game that this bench shows up. Back-to-back games, in Orlando, your starters outside of Domas in the first half did nothing. Your bench picked them up. Trey Lyles and others and Monk picked them up. And then tonight you got back-to-back. You got back-to-back big games from your bench. And Run DMG, he knows. He hangs out with us in the afternoon. I said when they signed Monk that I thought Monk would end up coming off of the bench. And when they traded for Huerter, I said, he's definitely coming off of the bench. And as we've talked about in that afternoon show, Cattles and Rami on Sactown Sports, microwavable offense. And that's exactly what you get. Microwavable offense from Monk. It's a huge, huge option to have coming off of the bench when he can make those shots. And he can also play make. He's just so dangerous and athletic. So, again, I thought Monk was great. Davion had 12 points. Terrence Davis had 9 points. Interesting decision, by the way. Terrence Davis, playing in the final moments of this game. Coach Brown, with about 4 minutes or so left in this game, he subbed out Davion Mitchell and put Davis in. That's showing a lot. I mean, that is showing a lot of confidence in Davis. And I thought Davis held his water defensively. Offensively, couple of shots I thought he took that were a little too quick, and he has the tendency to do that. He makes a 3, he makes a shot, he kind of speeds up, and he hit that huge 3. Then he came back, and I thought he rushed a couple of shots, and Katie mentioned that on the broadcast, and I think she's 100% right. Davis is going to make sure, like, you make 1, you make 2. That doesn't mean let's take 3 or 4, sketchy shots here. Let's play within the offense still, Terrence. Like, great job, man, and we appreciate you, but settle down on the quick 3s, especially when you don't touch the paint, right? Domas was interesting. He was fantastic in the first half. He was very, very quiet in the second half, and this is what we've seen from Domas from time to time, right? He has a great first half, not so great second half. He has a not so great first half, a great second half. And so tonight, I thought that he played well overall. I thought he was fantastic in the first half. Second half, I thought he just did not get as many touches and he wasn't as aggressive. I think he was getting doubled more. He was sending out passes and more facilitating the offense. But, going into halftime, he's got 14, 11, and 4, and you're thinking, man, this dude's going to go for 30 and 20 tonight. Not so much. He fell off in the second half offensively, still has a really good game. Look, he had a really, really good game. Keegan Murray. Here's the thing with Keegan. I don't know how you feel about Keegan Murray, guys and gals, but, I was talking about Keegan Murray today on the show. And here's what I would say about Keegan. Here's the one thing that really sticks out to me. If Keegan's not making his threes, where's he getting his offense from? If he's not making his threes, where's he getting the offense from? And I think what we're starting to see is that if he can't make his threes consistently, if he's going through one of these shooting slumps, then he has a tough time against most matchups creating his own offense. He's not an ISO scorer. He's not a guy that's going to say, get me the basketball and I'm going to go one-on-one with this guy. I'm going to beat him off a hezzy. I'm going to beat him off of a crossover. I'm going to do, whatever isolation kind of offensive play that you can dream up. That's not Keegan's game. Keegan, he's not a top level shot creator, at least not yet. So again, I ask you the question, if Keegan's not making his threes, how's he getting you buckets? He's got to get him in transition. I saw Lee S popped in and he says cutting. Absolutely. You've got to cut off of Domas, backdoor cuts, right? So you've got to get them in transition. You've got to get backdoor cuts. You've got to make the threes that you get, because when you look at Keegan's game, and the one thing I mentioned this on the show, and I know some people were probably upset at me for it, but even heading into the draft, I said Keegan offensively has strengths and he has weaknesses like every player. And Keegan's weaknesses, he's not an upper echelon shot creator. That's a problem usually at the NBA level if you don't develop that skill. So he's not a top tier shot creator just yet. He also does not finish in traffic well. When he was at Iowa, he had a big issue against bigger, stronger guys. And so what you're seeing is at times he gets into the paint, but he has trouble finishing at the rim. He has trouble against, bigger, stronger guys. He has trouble finishing and not only, getting a bucket, but also getting an and one. And so when you have some troubles when it comes to creating your own shot, you're not necessarily ultra effective against size down in the paint. And you also, so far I have not seen Keegan much at all back to the basket with his feet near the paint. That wasn't his game at Iowa. That has not been his game here with the Kings. So again, they've got to figure this out, because if you're looking at Keegan right now, this is his third straight bad offensive game, 6, 7, and 2 tonight. And if he's not making his threes, how can you get him going offensively? One more thing about Keegan that I saw, when you look at Keegan tonight, the one thing I would say is in the first quarter, he was hesitant. And I think many of you saw it. And Mark and Katie mentioned it. 3 times I counted in the first quarter, he gets a catch. He's got the open three. He doesn't take it. And he hesitates, and then he gets rid of the basketball. He can't do that. Like, he's been struggling, but you cannot allow your struggles to make you hesitant. He's got to shoot. That his strongest point is his shooting. He has to shoot the basketball. And he had a couple of opportunities early in this game with open looks, and he passed them up. He has to be more aggressive. The good news is that he was aggressive and more aggressive as the game went on. He was taking shots that were there, but that was one of the things that I saw was the hesitancy early, and I also think some defensive mistakes as well. He fell asleep. Steph Curry cut on him, fell asleep. Curry got an easy layup. So Keegan cannot allow these offensive struggles to start to impact him by being hesitant and impact him on the defensive end. And even his own father came out, several days ago on Twitter and said he called out his son. So Keegan's got to keep a level head. I think he'll be fine. He's still trying to find himself. He's out of rhythm. All he needs is one night to knock down a couple of threes. But again, we have to see how he develops offensively and see what he can do when he's not making those threes. How can he create his offense? How can, offensive rebounds, right? Attacking the glass, putbacks, transition, just to get going. My last point for tonight, and I thank all of you for joining me tonight. Fantastic numbers, and, we love every single one of you here at Sactown Sports. Here's one more thing, and I'll end on a positive. One thing that I've noticed here over the last couple of games, Coach Brown's going smaller more often. And when you see this small lineup, and tonight it was Metu at the 5, the Kings are much more competitive defensively when they go small. And I thought tonight against the Kings, they went small. Against the Warriors, they went small. Golden State played small. And their best defensive stretches were when they went small with Metu at the 5. Metu was playing the 5. They were contesting shots. They were recovering very, very well. They were doing all the things that you want to see them do. The question, of course, that leads all of us to is, well, if you go small and you're busier defensively, your hands are more active, you're in the passing lanes more often, you're staying in front of dribble penetrators better, you're impacting the ball, as they say, better, you're within airspace better, if you're recovering at a higher clip, if you're doing that when you're small, well, the thing is, you're sitting Domas. And so their best defensive lineup right now is when they go small. Richaun Holmes has been relegated almost as a useless piece to this puzzle over the last couple of games. And I truly believe that's because Holmes and Domas, when they have to try to, defend perimeter players, when teams run the pick and roll against them, they're getting switches, and Holmes and Domas are getting toasted by smaller players, wings and guards. So I think they have something going small and playing Metu at the 5, but you can't continue to do that throughout the entirety of the game. And a very, very interesting challenge is coming up on Wednesday night, the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs are big, they're athletic, and they're really freaking good. This is a good basketball team. And when you look at Mobley and you look at Allen, they got a big front line. And I am fascinated to see what Coach Brown does on Wednesday night against this very, very big Cavs team, because we know the Kings don't have great size. They don't have depth at the wing position. Their bigs have weaknesses. What will they do? What will they do against the Cavs on Wednesday night with that big-ass lineup? What are they going to do? Do they play big? Do they try to go small and try to run Mobley and Allen off the court? It's going to be very, very, very interesting. But that'll do it. Kings go down 116-113 to the Warriors tonight. Fun game. Went toe-to-toe with the defending champions. Unfortunately, the refs did not help you at the end. The refs missed the call on Klay Thompson that should have been made. You made errors in the fourth quarter. Your offense was sloppy at times. Steph Curry had an out-of-body experience. But I don't think you feel bad after this game, other than, being mad at the officiating at the end of games, which is a problem. It was a problem against Miami. It was a problem tonight. Other than that, I think you walk away feeling good. This team continues to compete. They fight. They're now, 3-6. I said 3-7 was acceptable in the first 10 games, given the schedule that they had. So, I think you're looking at 3-6, but look at all the games, guys. Miami on Wednesday night. That game is winnable. They're right in it. Final seconds, right? Tonight, they go toe-to-toe with the defending champions. Right in that basketball game. You go back to the Clippers. Paul George scores 40 points. You could argue that you are Paul George and Steph Curry going bananas against you for 40 or more points from actually having, 5 wins. Think about that. So again, I think there are some things we've got to learn. There are some things that we got to look at. Domas's, sketchy halves. Keegan's slump goes to 4 games now. What do you do with Domas and Holmes if you want to go, if you want to go small? What do you do then? But I think this team is everything that you could have anticipated. And no, zombie heads, soldiers, I am not going to overrate them. I'm not going to overrate them. But I am going to tell you that, 3-6, every game competitive, and every game winnable, that does mean something when you're trying to build this. And you're trying to build this right like Coach Brown is. So that's my final thoughts for the night. I'm back tomorrow with Rami, 3 to 6 on Sactown Sports. Appreciate every single one of you coming out. As always, we'll do this again Wednesday night after the Cavs-Kings game at Golden One. Have a great night, everybody.